The Ride with JMV, 93.5 and 107.5.
Lead 3-0 over Miami. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage as Tua Tagovailoa backs into the shotgun, empty set. Has two receivers to the right, three go left. Fires upfield and is an overthrow picked off by Cam Bynum. 25, he's at the 30-yard line, then rolled up at the 31. The Colts have an interception off of the overthrow by Tua Tagovailoa right into the free agent acquisition, Cam Bynum, the free safety. 2nd and 20 for the Colts. First play of the second quarter. Daniel Jones flies it right side, and it's caught at the goal line. Touchdown for the Colts, and it's Michael Pittman Jr. A 27-yard, beautifully placed pass by Daniel Jones to Michael Pittman Jr. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y for the Colts. Two backs in the backfield with Tua Tagovailoa. Play action, drops the throw. Here comes the rush by the Colts. The ball is out, and it squirts right to a blue shirt, and the Colts have another takeaway into plus territory. Kenny Moore, the second, gets the sack, and the recovery by the Colts, and they're going to take over around the 42-yard line, and that's Xavier Howard, the former Dolphin, on the fumble recovery. 3rd and goal for the Colts, their third opportunity to get 1 yard here. And here's a quarterback sneak by Daniel Jones. He's in! Yes, sir! The quarterback finishes the deal. Another touchdown for the Colts following a defensive takeaway. Tua backs the pass, rolling to his right, sets up, delivers over the middle, picked off. Latu with the interception, gets up off the mat. He's running upfield across the 40-yard line, and he's pushed out of bounds in front of the Colts sideline, and his teammates are mobbing him. That's the third takeaway today by the Colts defense. 15th play of the possession. Jones under center, ball in the right hash. 3 receivers go left. Jones, quarterback keeper again. This time he slides in. Touchdown on a quarterback keeper by Daniel Jones. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. 2 rushing scores today by Danny Dimes. 1 second remains, and there it is. The curse, the hex, voodoo, the jinx, the spells, all the enchantments, they're finally gone. The ghosts of week 1's past have been punted out of Lucas Oil Stadium this afternoon.
We just buried it. We buried it right underneath that horseshoe today.
After 11 years, the Colts are victorious in week 1 as they kick the rear end of the Miami Dolphins 33-8.
I think it means everything, and what I mean by that is honoring a man that did so much for this community and this organization. Obviously, he's not with us physically, but he's definitely with us spiritually, everywhere we go. And so to win like we did today, with him watching down on us, was awesome.
Someone said the roof is open so he could watch us, and he was with every single one of you, including us. And thank you for doing this for us, but for him, he loved this team so much, and this really, really means a lot.
Let's get a win for Jim. You guys got it? Win for Jim!
That was fun yesterday. I love that open, too, by the way. I love that song, again, by Allison Chains. I was bouncing around some ideas on my head a little bit earlier about what would be appropriate to play in. And it was weird. I wasn't thinking about James back at the studio, but it was like hard rock anthems or even harder rock anthems that popped into my head. And one of the reasons why is I got a text from Rick Venturi this morning, and we were kind of going back and forth, and he said something that was interesting to me, and I'll read it for you verbatim. He said, "Look like a new dawn." Now, I could have also gone with the Space Odyssey, I think, as an intro today. It looked like a new dawn. Defenses changes. Danny and Warren didn't even resemble the old Colts. And while that was just 1 week, and there is zero doubt that Miami could just stratospherically suck, honestly, that's probably the case. But, man, was that necessary. It was. All you had to do was look around yesterday. If you walked around before the game, if you were down there, you look around, all you had to do was notice that that was necessary. And I'm not suggesting everybody's all of a sudden going to fall in line in a level of belief, but you needed a feel-good. I've always said this, haven't I? Man, fans around here of the Colts, they want to feel good like Pacer fans had the opportunity. I realize it's one of the same for the most part, but I think you know what I mean. What I mean is winning and higher level football, in this case, will convince some that this product is worthy of their attention again. And it was all good on the field. Listen, I had a great time on the Colts pregame huddle, a great time at the Bullseye Event Center before that. But you also noticed at the game that many people decided not to attend. And it is all a part of that further notice process. That's exactly what they needed to do. Think of all the problems that you have had over the years. And again, one game is not a solution, but one game can be a start because you have to start someplace. And again, think about all the issues, all the problems that have been in and around this team in its on-the-field product over the past handful of years, and then compare it to yesterday. They gave you a dose of exactly what you needed, exactly what was necessary. That's why I said this a little bit earlier. I said, go ahead and celebrate this like might as well. You've had so few times to do that. Because normally when you had a fleeting moment to celebrate, then something else was worthy of kicking you right in the ass further down the road, not too far down the road, in minutes, in fact. Yeah, go ahead and celebrate it and feel good. Because a lot of what we witnessed, and especially in the category in that new, fresh feeling, and not to sound like an old school deodorant commercial, but I will for a moment, a new, fresh feeling as you saw under center with the quarterback play. It's weird, right? Because I have downplayed a lot of the talk from the Colts and the coach, about it just being nothing but chatter, it being nothing but dialogue. But if you watch yesterday, you kind of recognize and understand what Shane Steichen was talking about. And it was real. It felt real yesterday at that position. You had somebody there that you could trust yesterday to make the right decision. He had one of the greatest afternoons, did Daniel Jones, in the history of NFL quarterback play. And I heard this on the game broadcast. I think it was Larry Overton that had said this during the game broadcast, and then they brought it up a number of times afterwards. When you're on a list that includes Otto Graham, and unless you're on a list of those that are no longer with us, that's a hell of a list to be on. I mean, a hell of a list to be on right there. That's saying Otto Graham, what? You got to go back to the 50s? Those were some substantial names. And really, it's not even so much about that as it was the decision-making. You could see what Shane Steichen had talked about that went into this whole quarterback decision. And to me, yesterday, it seemed he got exactly from that position what he wanted, what he had desired, what he had been looking for. And then, in turn, so did you, Colts fans. You had the opportunity to feel good again, and it was a never-ending good. It wasn't one of those where it was a moment or a series or two, and then you're going to give up something big. I mean, everything that we had talked about seemingly worked out. All of our dialogue in this offseason worked out for one day. And as BT Dew had mentioned, he's in here someplace right now, finally making it back on the show when we're on the road on the Monday. But BT Dew said, overreaction Monday. This is the first time in stinking forever that you get the opportunity to have an overreaction Monday for a feel-good. That was the sports arousal for Colts fans yesterday. Seriously. As a sports fan around here, fellas, in this case, if that were your sports arousal, hang the laundry on that bad boy on this beautiful day, seriously. And then we'll talk about what's going to entail next week when the Denver Broncos come to town late on a Sunday afternoon. But yesterday, it did, like what Rick Venturi texted me this morning, it did look like a new day, a new dawn. Now, he was talking about the quarterback position. Now, we're talking about the defense. I simply put 3 letters in a next message yesterday, L-O-U for Lou. Honestly, how substantial of a breath of fresh air was that for you yesterday? The point I'm trying to make regarding this as well is it was another issue that had been prolonged. And I don't want to sit here and rip on Gus Bradley all day, but how good did that feel? Having somebody that was calling the shots defensively that seemingly did different things, and by the way, with different levels of talent. I have to keep reminding you that it may all change, and we may be having a completely different sound coming up next Monday. But for today, that's exactly what you were looking for, and you can only play one game every week in this case. So we'll be talking about this one. And that's exactly what you were looking for, and that is exactly what you got in that first game of the season. You know, Matt Taylor on the Colts radio network, along with Rick Venturi, called that at the tail end, you know, talking about, you know, the curse is gone and the voodoo and all of that. And they were absolutely right. But I would suggest even more so than that, it gave you a reason to feel good and believe again. To feel good and believe in something that, as you could tell walking up, it didn't feel like a normal opener at home. And then when you got in the stadium, I know you guys all noticed the empty seats. That's what you have to do when you have been inconsistent and mediocre to below for such a long period of time. When people stop booing and calling talk shows and pissing and moaning and griping and yelling and cussing, when they stop doing that, they stop paying attention. And that's when you hit rock bottom. So here's my hope. I'm hoping with all of this that rock bottom has been felt, and now you can start working your way back up. Hopefully this is kind of a step stool, if you will, of going where you ultimately want to go. I cannot talk enough about the defense. You know how much I love Mooney. And by the way, Mooney is in concussion protocol. Apparently, according to Shane Steichen today, walked into the complex a little bit earlier and did have concussion-like symptoms. So he enters concussion protocol. See, that's the one thing that remains the same out of all this is the whole injury stuff that we have to talk about all the time. So hopefully that things work out there. I thought he was spectacular, and one of the reasons why is at least there, and I wasn't watching the television broadcast, I was there, his name didn't seem like it was called very often because he was an absolute blanket. He is a blanket. They were making plays. Cam Bynum is here for a reason, a playmaker in the secondary, a ball hawk in the secondary, and he hawked the ball. And then celebrated like it was breaking 2 electric boogaloo, which I loved. I thought the dude was going to get, I don't know what that was called. It's like called a dance, something Nova, C-Nova, something like that. I mean, hell, I got to be much younger to understand what the hell that was. But it reminded me of like 1984, an electric, or breaking 2 electric boogaloo. I thought all you needed was a piece of cardboard down there you can spin around on your head on afterwards. It was awesome. But it was what and the reason behind why you brought that guy in. Certainly it was a Tua overthrow, and turnover Tua was an absolute disaster. But I thought earlier today, Xavier Howard actually mentioned this when he met with the media a little bit earlier today. He said, you know, the one thing that you know, and he obviously played with Tua in Miami, had a gap season a year ago, came back last year or this year, and obviously played well, like everybody else did on that defense yesterday, but had mentioned that he liked to get rid of the ball quickly. That's something that he and they knew, and they took advantage of that, because when you take away his option early, then he tends to, and these are my words, not his, freak out a little bit. And he freaked out a great deal. He was a walking turnover. That was kind of like what you have been a part of for so many years. It was almost like the script was a bit flipped yesterday. He was the quarterback with all the wrong decisions. He's extending the play in fumbles, overshooting the receivers to the wrong team. You've seen that later, brother. You've seen that script before. Yesterday, not so much. I just thought defensively, offensively, we're going to get into Tyler Warren, who caught absolutely everything. And as Michael Pittman Jr. said after the game, had they utilized him, he could have been even more impactful than he was. He was outstanding. When's the last time you got stuff as advertised? When is the last time, unless it sucked? If it's advertised and it sucked, and that's when you got it. But when was the last time you got something as advertised like that, man? I know you feel good about it. I don't blame you, and you're allowed to. And we shall be talking about that all afternoon at 239-1070. I'm going to fire up the old text line here at 317-239-1070 as well. We're live at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to try to give you like a crotch show here when I stand up, but the reason why I am is I am going to, by the way, we're inside the AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live. I had Devin, our engineer here, set us up in the window because County Line Road, I'm going to go ahead and call it out right now. If you guys are on County Line Road, especially going eastbound, the hell with it. Pull in here and join us for some great food or whatever because, as they say, you ain't going nowhere fast. So you might as well come in here, hang out with us, because County Line, there is construction as there is basically in every single section here in central Indiana, and nobody eastbound is going anywhere right now. So, and we're thinking that right here we may get a little bit of action, if you know what I mean. We may get a little bit of action and a little bit of frustration, and I feel as if I can almost act as a pseudo-traffic cop if somebody gets or feels like they're hassled and loses their cool a little bit, then I'm going to go out and Kevin Bacon it up, BT do, like I'm in Animal House, and remain calm. All is well. Come over and join my man BT do, because it's the first time he's been out with us in like 3 years now. Great to see you, brother. And join us and just hang out, because the NFL week number 1 is not over until the Bears screw something up. And we'll see if that happens on the road in Minneapolis coming up later on tonight. You'll close out the week 1 of the NFL with the Bears on the road against the Vikings. And we can talk about that and the rest of the NFL. But obviously, the afternoon of Daniel Jones, 22 of 29, 272, 1 touchdown. He was absolutely incredible and put up in categories of numbers, things that you just haven't seen, and we sure as hell haven't seen it like that around here in a long time. There's no doubt about that. They got really – I don't know what I could come up with. I was thinking – I think Bernard Ryman may have had a couple of penalties thrown on the left tackle, but probably nobody is thinking too much about that today. I couldn't really come up with anything – that would speak to me as being problematic. That's how feel-good that effort was yesterday. And I know because I am out with you, just how that makes you feel, because it has been a long time coming. Now, it's not lost on me, as I mentioned a little bit earlier either, that Miami is absolutely a grease fire. And their head coach, while apparently innovative, rocks the glasses. He's kind of being like me, thinks he's cool when he wears a watch. I think I'm cool when I wear a watch, too. We're both kind of douchey a little bit. I mean, I think Mike McDaniel and I have some things in common. We're both a little bit douchey, right? Just kind of, I would suggest. See, that would be cool. And I just, if I were more talented, then what I've become now would be kind of cool, but instead it's douchey, and that's the same thing with him. If he were showing better results, then it would be cool and trendy, but instead it's kind of douchey. He looks, unfortunately, over there with the glasses and his sweatpants up, and he kind of looks like, what was that little chick's name in the Foghorn Leghorn? Remember when Foghorn was trying to hit up on the widow hen, and he was like babysitting that little chick, and the little chick was really good at math, but sucked at sports. But then when he put math into good use into sports, he was really good. Yet compare the two. I swear to God, he reminds me of that little chick in Foghorn Leghorn. That's what it reminded me of yesterday. It's like he's just some kind of nerd that all of a sudden, well, wait a minute, you carry the y and x over y and this, and you start doing some algebra or something, and you could put that to good use. But it was not a great day for him. It was a spectacular day, and again, incredibly necessary. For the Colts in their 33-8 win, I thought the halftime was as well done as possible. It's funny, I used to mention this to Robin Miller. Robin Miller, the late, great Robin Miller, would occasionally get sick and tired of IMS opening up the doors as much as they open up the doors. You know, it's all about the 500, and that's what it should be all about, and qualifying, and people come here to watch racing. And I was always of the opinion, when you open the doors up over there, man, people like going, right? When you open up the doors, people enjoy going. And that's just, that's always been my kind of take on IMS, even when there's really nothing going on. And I kind of put that to, if you have a product that is enjoyable, I mean, I say this all the time about Bullseye, just make your game day experience the best it can be. And it was almost like a backhanded compliment at times. I would always say, and I still do, you go to Bullseye and you're going to have a hell of a party. It really doesn't matter what happens in the stadium afterwards, but I know as a fan, it does for you matter what happens in the stadium. And that's why that feel-good was necessary yesterday for you. And we'll talk about that over the course of the afternoon. I mentioned the text line is at 317-239-1070. We'll get you in on the phones at 239-1070. Stephen Holder, I'm assuming, per usual, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. News of the day, though, and we'll watch this over the course of the week. We will watch Mooney in concussion protocol. You know how much I like him anyway, Charvarius Ward. But I thought he was outstanding yesterday. I thought the secondary was great. Nick Cross laid out Tua like crazy. I mean, I thought all the way around, Lou Anarumo's defense, just as much as Daniel Jones as the quarterback, was an absolute breath of fresh air. And again, I don't know if this is a new dawn. I don't know if they'll even continue this into next week. But I do know what took place yesterday was what absolutely needed to take place yesterday. Hey, James, you know what I'm talking about? Foghorn Leghorn, that little chick. Did you look up that little chick? The Widow Hens chick?
Sorry, I was on the phone with somebody. I do know what Foghorn Leghorn is, but I'm not sure I know the chick you're talking about.
That's Mike McDaniel right there. Tell me that's not Mike McDaniel. He's the little chick in Foghorn Leghorn cartoon who couldn't play sports normally, but when you, like, do algebra and stuff, all of a sudden, oh, I'm a wizard. Here I go. That's what he reminded me of. Oh, yeah. Anyway, we'll take a break and we'll come back. Hey, I'm looking for you at Twin Peaks. We're in Greenwood. If you are on County Line, here's what I want you to do. If you're on County Line, especially going eastbound, your ass is going nowhere quickly right here. Honestly, you're going nowhere. Because I'm looking down, all the way down to 31. It is a parking lot right now for you. That doesn't mean you can't get here, and you can if you're savvy about it. Come in off of Madison, come in off of 31, and you have no issue. But if everybody piles it up here on County Line between 31 and Madison going eastbound, then you might be in trouble. However, I can hear you honk, so you can lay on the horn right here. And if anything happens and I need to go out and make sure everybody is okay, I will do that for everybody here on County Line. I love that we're back at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. And a shout out to Corey and the gang here. I know Jordan's behind the bar. We have time for you to come. We are going to get your Monday geared up with that Monday night football game between the Bears and the Vikings, and talk a crap ton of Colts over the course of the afternoon. All right, the stream, the app is at HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. I'll go ahead and sit back down because I don't want to gross everybody out when I stand up. My bad. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. Your calls, your text, your X messages, your emails, and you at 239-1070 coming up. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Daniel Jones, 3 for 4 for 36 yards. 3 tight ends into the game right now for the Colts. Ball in the left hash. Mo Alley-Cox, one of those tight ends, moves in motion down to the right side. Daniel Jones out of the gun. Jonathan Taylor is back right. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Play clock down to 2. Just gets off the snap as Daniel Jones looks left. Great protection. Fires downfield. Again, it's Warren with the grab. Went up high to bring it in, and he's down to the 11-yard line. The Tyler Warren show right out of the gate. 21 yards to the rookie tight end inside the Coca-Cola red zone.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts. County Line Road, Twin Peaks location on a victorious Monday for the Colts, and doing so for the first time since 2013 in week number 1. It's a feel-good story, and I'm not going to take anything away from you. I could sit here all day long and talk about, you know what, the likelihood of the Dolphins on both sides of the football sucking that badly could be the reality of the situation, but it doesn't matter. Because, again, that's exactly what you needed. You needed that performance out of that team. And I could tell beforehand. I could certainly tell once the game was underway. It was just the feeling. I've been there. Remember, I've been around parties and gatherings and hangouts and games when it's been to fever pitch, to okay, to below okay. And I thought yesterday's pulse at the beginning was that. Right? And then you went out there and played off of that performance, which was absolutely outstanding. Give Lou Anarumo some love, because this all comes out of the wash, too. One of these days, I'm sure we'll all be pissy and ripping on him, because that's how it works. But give him his due. By God, that's exactly what you want to see, and you haven't seen that for so long. It was like you were in a dream. Like, you listen to Rick Venturi on the radio broadcast, and he was as excited as I can remember. Oh, my God, blitzes. What? Mixing up defenses. What is this stuff? Strategery. All of it. So, go ahead and have fun with it. There's zero wrong with having fun with it. And, in fact, you can have fun with it here as we are in the open-up windows that face County Line Road, Twin Peaks. We are in Greenwood today and would love to have you. Again, if you are stuck in that line of traffic right now because of construction going eastbound, just go ahead and hang a right in here and hang out with us and wait until this traffic decides to die down a little bit, because it is a lengthy wait for you. Just join us. Have yourselves a hell of a day. That's exactly what you need. You need that too. I know you need that. I can recognize it. Did you say Egghead Jr., James, is who we were talking about? Mike McDaniel resembles to me?
Yep,
Egghead Jr.?
That's the name.
BT also had it too. Actual name is Egghead Jr. I'm not wrong about that. Put up the side-by-side. And this is not about me going off on some dude it doesn't matter, or is an easy mark because he got whipped yesterday. An answer, I don't know if you listened to it in the post-game presser. I don't know what more you say other than, hey, we all sucked, and I'm the one that leads us, so I'm the one that sucked the most. But if you remember, he kind of took the path of the Colts quarterback coach and said, I've done all I can do. I did my best. When you start talking about you've done all you can do and you've done your best, and that's the product, that's problematic right there, everybody. What's up? You're not going to go out there and get in that traffic, are you? Don't hang a right here. Don't hang a right. Oh, hey, well, you better come down here because that door's locked. They don't want anybody coming in here whipping my ass if I don't know about it. So, yeah, they locked that door right there to protect me. You come on in. Thanks, man. That's great. Twin Peaks, we're in Greenwood. They got to lock that door if my back's to it right there. We can't have that. 239-1070 is the number. Start with Ray Love here, James, on this Monday. Hello, Ray Love. How are you?
Hey, John. So the game next week starts at 4:05. I'll be down there at noon.
Good.
I'll make sure I bring that cookie for you that I told you about.
Oh, Ray Love, I remember that, man. I don't know what the hell I'll do with it. What will I do? Put it in my bag? Will it fit in my bag? Is that all right?
I mean, just in case you get a little hungry and they're slow bringing you the food over there to the booth.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got to give a shout-out to Ray Love yesterday because Jess and Litzy, they brought me a little container of cottage cheese to Touchdown Town. How about that? And we wonder why there's a cottage cheese shortage and there's a craze. I got to take a little bit of credit for that, don't I, Ray Love? Cottage cheese shortage, craze right now? A lot of that's got to do with me, right?
I probably wouldn't say that out loud, JMV.
Should I be embarrassed? Hey, hey, Ray Love. Here's the problem. I have gone so to the other side of douchery right here. It's almost like I'm unrecognizable and it no longer matters. Which is unfortunate because I used to be judgmental in that capacity. Now I'm kind of morphing into what I used to be a judge about, and it's really unfortunate path I've taken here, Ray Love. Unfortunate.
Well, I'll tell you this, John. Once you watch your favorite team go out and get a Week 1 victory, and 16 other teams can't say the same thing, you're in the upper. Well, I get what quartile would that put us in?
Yeah, I don't know. That's math, man. You have to ask Egghead Jr. about that. I don't know what that's about. But, yeah, go ahead.
But I want to put you on a new phrase, John, because I know you like to use phrases around here.
I do.
And what describes yesterday's game is called "We gave the Miami Dolphins that belt." B-E-L-T. Belt. From start to finish, just whooped up on them, just bent them over and just spanked them, just time after time after time. They didn't have an answer, It was almost a beautiful thing, That's what I look at. But
yeah,
John, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yes.
I kind of felt we were gonna, just run right through the Miami Dolphins. I didn't think they were gonna give us too much resistance. I didn't, to be quite honest with you. But for me, the test comes next week. You got to give a team who knocked you out of playoff position. You got to give them some revenge now. And the win is nice, but I'm on a week 2 right now. I want to keep this thing rolling. I got a taste of victory. Now I want some more of it.
No, Ray Love, you're absolutely right. At some point, we'll turn the page. I do want to give people the opportunity to feel good because there's been so little to feel good about consistently over the past handful of years. But, yeah, you're right. That's going to be a great gauge because I think that there is still skepticism in the air. I'm not suggesting that, Ray Love, whatsoever. But I think you also have to take it for how it happened and talk it up. And it was, as you said, it was a take a belt to that rear or a switch. I got the switch from my grandma. I don't know what you got. Maybe it was a belt. I got the switch. But that's what it was like across the board in that game yesterday for the Colts.
Or a plastic hanger.
Yeah, plastic hanger. Yeah, all that. Yeah, I think our ass was fair game back then, if you remember right, Ray Love, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Ray Love, good to hear from you, pal.
Good to hear. Hey, John, I got one more question for you before I go.
Sure.
Okay. What are we doing around the city for this win? Are we getting some free McDonald's? A free ice cream cone, some 50% off at Penn Station? What's going on, man? I want to embark in this.
Braden, you got anything at Penn Station going on? No. Well, I know McDonald's had something, though. But they're not an advertiser, though. But McDonald's has something. McDonald's had something going on about nuggets and points or some crap like that yesterday, I think, Ray Love.
Well, that makes sense.
Thank you for
a visit.
You got it. Thank you for the call, and I'll look for you coming up next week. I did want to remind people the spreadability is back. That is Win Schuler's spreadable cheeses. Original sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, and jalapeno pepper. The spreadability for your party or just hanging out for Monday Night Football with the Vikings and the Bears later on tonight. Win Schuler's spreadability is back. Now, I've located Win Schuler's spreadability already here in Greenwood, and in fact, it's not too far away. The spreadability is, can you guys see me right now? It is right over there. It is to the southwest of where I'm pointing, right over the top of the Greenwood Park Mall, right over 31, and right down there at Gordon's Food Service. Go in there and grab yourself some of the spreadability. They're not an advertiser either, but hell, I got to make sure I can find it for you guys. Gordon's Food Service. I saw it on Saturday when I bought 25 pounds of cottage cheese. Gordon's Food Service has the spreadability. Win Schuler's spreadability. Go to Gordon's Foods. I'm assuming you probably have one near you as well. Just make sure that that's on your table wherever you are. Win Schuler's spreadability back for the late summer and the fall football season of 2025. And I know you guys love it, and we are glad. We are certainly glad that it is back. Give me Mike in Brooklyn, James, before we go to break at 239-1070. Hello, Mike.
JMV, what's up, brother? Yeah, you said it best. That one was a long time coming, you know. And even watching it from afar here, you know, looked like a really special day with from top to bottom all the way around with the Ring of Honor ceremony. And everybody was in the building, you know. You just like his daughter said. That's how it's supposed to feel when
Peyton Manning's in the building. By God, that's what it's supposed to feel like right there, is it not?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. She said the daughter said, you know, we left the roof open so he could be watching. You just picture that Jim Irsay definitely was there in spirit with his lucky cowboy hat, shades, and a big smile on his face watching that one, because that was looked like a really special day.
You got that right, man. What else you got, Mike?
Yeah, no, I just as far as, you know, everything show, you know, Lou, yeah, you said it, Lou, that was really, really nice. I think all of us saying, man, you're watching all these games and you're like, well, why doesn't the Colts defense ever look like this? Well, now it finally did, so you don't even know how to react to it. Steichen called a good game. He totally validated his selection of Daniel Jones, ran his offense efficiently, you know, and my only questions that I would have about it didn't have any effect on it. It worked. I wasn't crazy about the fourth down calls. I thought that there was, you know, you got 17, 23-point lead. That's the type of thing, doing it over and over. More games are lost by coaches in the NFL than they're won. And as Colts fans, we should be well aware of that, because we had to deal with Frank Reich for all those years, who took that to an art form of how to absolutely lose a game that you should have won. And and also the Mooney Ward thing, I also did notice that they left the starters on the field, including him, on that last drive, and I was like saying, why are these guys on the field? So, but you know.
Man, Mooney, I thought Mooney was good. Obviously, Bynum was there. Everybody was good, but you mentioned validating the quarterback selection. I thought they, at least in one game in week one, validated the direction they went defensively, too. Maybe more so than really, Mike, anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when they were playing, I noticed that, too, because I watched a lot of the game. I'm not a coach, you know, Rick Vittori probably give you. But when they were when they were locked up in man coverage, Tua had no answer for that. Like, they were just locking down, and he was holding on to the ball, and that was one of the things that made him totally uncomfortable. You know, most of the plays he hit was when they were playing like that soft cover 2 type of coverages. So, but anyway, listen, let's keep it going. You know, win for Jim. I'm all on board.
You got Mike in Brooklyn right there at 239-1070. We'll take a break. The 317-239-1070 text line. That's as follows here. Hey, John, I don't want to jump to conclusions. Yeah, that's what Mondays are for in football. Either way, negatively, positively, jump to conclusions. But Rick Venturi was right about the Colts going with Daniel Jones. Oh, and so was I. Bring on the Broncos. That's from Jim McCann in Southern California. Jim McCann, thank you very much. Quick break, we'll come back. County Line Road location of Twin Peaks. We would love to see you on this Monday with Stephen Holder coming up. Again, Shavarius Ward, concussion protocol today, walking into the facility with concussion-like symptoms. We'll follow that story over the course of the week. Monday Night Football puts the wraps on week number 1 of the 2025 NFL season. That and more in your calls at 239-1070. That's coming up next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Nachos, lemon heads, my dad's boat. You won't go down cause my
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
2nd and 20 for the Colts. First play of the second quarter. Daniel Jones flies it right side. And it's caught at the goal line. Touchdown for the Colts. And it's Michael Pittman Jr. A 27-yard, beautifully placed pass by Daniel Jones to Michael Pittman Jr. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y for the Colts.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio Network. That was a part of the onslaught yesterday with the Colts and their win over the Dolphins and finally breaking through in week number 1, the first time since 2013. Week 2, the Broncos, that is a late afternoon performance at 4:05. Remember that. So I'm assuming countdown probably starts at 3. Colts pregame huddle probably at 1. I'm probably at Bullseye at noon. It was great to see everybody in line when I left Bullseye yesterday. I'm sure we're going to have more passes to give away later on this week as well. Let's go to the text line at 317-239-1070. JMV. I didn't think the Broncos looked all that great in their home stadium. I think we'll probably beat them. That's Gator and Ligotti. Shout out to Gator. JMV, the smart little chicken on Foghorn Leghorn was Egghead Jr. I just like saying that, I think. Again, shout out to Bill Cash. The Big Hat's 1-0 on the season. I saw the Big Hat yesterday. Hey, this is Greg, JMV. Yes, perfect description of the Dolphins coach. I swear he was looking at his play sheet, muttering to himself, yeah, I got nothing to call here. We're screwed. When things are going bad, it kind of looks like that the coaches are hiding behind that thing, too. I don't even want to look out there what's going on. JMV, are the Dolphins that bad, or did the Colts impose their will and completely overwhelm them? I prefer to think the Colts are that good. That's Mike. All right. We'll find out a little bit more coming up on Sunday. But I am advocating it is okay to feel like that because you have felt the alternative for so many years, especially after so many week 1 losses. Hey, it's about that. Like, I could come on here for 3 hours and say, well, you know what? They kicked the crap out of the Dolphins, but the Dolphins really suck, and that was the only reason why. They just were dominant. That was a dominant performance, and even if, as advertised here, this Dolphins team is bad. That bad. That was a dominant performance. Exactly what you're looking for right there. Yeah, I would guess. 239-1070 is that number. Give me Adam here before the top of the hour break. Adam, thanks for calling the show.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, John, how you doing? Happy Victory Monday.
Great. Right back at you, Adam. Thanks for the call.
Oh, yeah, just got a couple things. It was a good football weekend. My old high school, they went out on Friday night, Operation Football, and played, and they destroyed the team they were playing. And they had the Colts bus there for that week. And then I had the Colts 5K on Saturday. There was 3,400 people there for a 5K, which was unbelievable. And then, obviously, I was there at the game to see the Dolphins get slaughtered.
So, 3,400 lunatics that choose to run for leisure. What the hell's that all about there? That's crazy.
It's all fun. I'm telling you, brother, it's all
fun. Running is and always will be, Adam, a form of punishment. It's because I did something wrong. I got bad grades. I was out too late. I missed curfew. Right? I talked back to the coach. That's why I'm not running because, hey, you know what? It's a great-looking day. Let's go out and run for fun. Come on.
Well, there's beer at the end. I mean.
My brother, it's always great seeing you, too, man. Thanks for the call. Have a great day.
You too.
Let's take a break. Come back. 239-1070, 4 o'clock hour calls. James, Stephen Holder at 5. Is that what we got working today?
That's what we got.
5 with Stephen Holder of ESPN. We'll talk about the concussion protocol for Mooney as well coming up with Stephen Holder and other aspects of yesterday's game. I should mention the Fever clinch a playoff berth yesterday with a win over Washington. And it was a big college football weekend as well. IU, Purdue winning. And we'll talk, I'm sure, about that. I don't know how much we're going to get into that today because your focus is and should be on the Colts, which is a good thing. We'll come back. Twin Peaks, County Line Road. Would love to see you on a Monday that we finally, after week 1, talk about the Colts win. The last time I had a chance to do this, I weighed 80 pounds more, which is absolutely incredible. I weighed 255 the last time the Colts won a week 1 opener. What kind of craziness is that? Next thing you'll know, I'll be wearing a medium shirt and then running like Adam one of these beaches. And it's not punishment. Incredible. But now yesterday was a good time, and as I mentioned, certainly needed. Your calls, your text, and back to that conclusion on this Monday coming up next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Now the wide side of the field is to the right. They got it. Two backs in the backfield with Tua Tagovailoa. Play action, drops the throw. Here comes the rush by the Colts. The ball is out, and it squirts right to a blue shirt, and the Colts have another takeaway into plus territory. Kenny Moore II gets the sack, and the recovery by the Colts, and they're going to take over around the 42-yard line, and that's Xavier Howard, the former Dolphin, on the fumble recovery.
There you go. Man, guys making plays defensively, moving around, blitzing. All this stuff you guys have wanted forever, and you got it yesterday, and a Colts win. You've also wanted a Colts Week 1 win forever, and you got that yesterday too. 1-0. Also, I should tell you, if you do look around the AFC South, I thought Jacksonville looked good. I think Liam Cohen is going to have an effect or an impact, certainly on their offense and Trevor Lawrence and what they do. Houston had a somewhat skeptical start, although playing in L.A. is difficult. And Tennessee hung in. I just didn't think Denver looked that great. Denver's coming in here after 4 o'clock coming up next Sunday. I didn't think Denver looked that great. Tennessee hung. I can see, to me, I think Cam Ward's going to end up being pretty good. Did he hold the ball too long and make some faulty decisions yesterday? I think they had the ball, on the other side of Denver's 50. 5 different times yesterday afternoon. Didn't score as much clearly as they wanted to. But, we shall see. You're going to end up getting Denver next week and then Tennessee the week after that if you're the Colts. But it was feel good yesterday. So with that in mind, the floor is yours at 239-1070. We will get your thoughts as we have done in hour number 1. 317-239-1070 is the text line if you would like to send something our direction. I like that too. But Liam Cohen seems like a tool. I don't think you care exactly if it is as long as they win down there. This is from Mike of the text line at 317-239-1070. Colts were the first team to score on every possession in 45 years. I'd mentioned that. When you do that, and when Daniel Jones does something and you end up, being mentioned with like Otto Graham, that's fairly exclusive. Look at BT Do with the hand-delivered beer for me that is ice cold. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. Hey, shout out to Greenwood Red. I have not seen Red in forever. You are looking fit and trim, by the way, my brother over there. Cheers to you. Greenwood Red is in the house. And the house is Twin Peaks. We're in Greenwood today. Hold on one sec. Much better. Greenwood today at the Twin Peaks location. Would love to have you, so come by and see you. If you're coming eastbound on County Line Road, just go ahead and slide in here because you're not going to go anywhere very fast. There's construction going on, and people are trying to navigate in and out. So, if I were you, I would just chill out, join us, and have yourself one hell of a time. Because you deserve that. I think you do. JMV, how about Latu, the new wide receiver number 1? How about just dropping into coverage? I think both he and Kwity Paye on that particular play were in coverage as well. Now, listen, one of these days, I'm sure we're going to be all over Lou Anarumo because ultimately we get all over everybody. That is the world of sports, especially in terms of sports talk. However, yesterday was fantastically refreshing for Colts fans. And I feel you. And as Matthew Wilder once famously said, I'm not here to break your stride. Nothing going to break my stride for you today because you guys deserve that. I thought they really gave you exactly what was necessary. And that has been few and far between. Let's do some calls loaded up until Stephen Holder at 5 o'clock. That is plenty of time at 239-1070. Terrence can lead here in hour number 2. Hello, Terrence. How are you?
What up, JMV? Long time, my man.
Right back at you. Good to have you back, Terrence. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So this is what it looks like, man, when you got a whole team, man, performing. You like your little quarterback, he can do his thing. I like my man Daniel Jones. So far, so good. The defense, I was really excited to see. I kind of like it. And, hey, I like it. Nice start, man. Appreciate you having me on, big dog.
Terrence, thank you very much. Now, it was an overall team effort. What I mentioned in hour number 1, my feeling on all this, it's like the nuts and the bolts of it a little bit, right? My feeling was what they did, at least in one game, in one day, they answered a lot of the questions that you had, a lot of the doubts that you had. And hell, I don't know if it's going to be prolonged to next week. I don't know if you can count on this every week. But I do know, to start the season, when clearly this fan base was at its most skeptical. And as I mentioned earlier, you could tell, and I'm not going to sit here and blame you. Like last night in what was a spectacular Sunday night game, Buffalo comes back to win. And if you watch the post-game interview with Melissa Stark, Josh Allen, talked about the crowd leaving and said, hey, Bills fans have more faith in us than that. So Bills fans in the fourth were leaving when they were down. In this case, I completely understand your level of skepticism with this team. You need proof. You need proof of life. You can change. You can change defensively with the coordination, with the personnel, with the quarterback, and you can say all you want. How many years have you heard things just like that? It's going to be different because it has to be different. This is unacceptable level of play and or results. You have heard that for years. And for one game, they backed it up. We'll see what happens coming up on Sunday. But as I mentioned earlier, that was about as necessary as you could get. I just think for Colts fans in general, for you to see that, for you to be a part of that, for you to soak that up, about as necessary as you can get. 239-1070 is that number. Back to the phones in just a second. Dave writes this, JMV, it's amazing on what a change of scenery can do to some players. Beach Grove Dave right there. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, and again, it's amazing what you can see it can do to some players, but what about the change that you saw in the execution of an offense? When was the last time you felt that good when any quarterback was dropping back? When there was any opportunity that was there? I mean, you, as the fans watching, your confidence did grow right along with Daniel Jones. And the other part that I acknowledged in the first hour of the show, we've heard so much dialogue from everybody, Colts-wise, from the coach to the general manager, about what needs to happen and what they're looking for and what has to change. And rarely has it come to fruition. Yesterday, it did. Yesterday, they backed it up. And it was about time, and it certainly, I know, for Colts fans, was incredible to see. You guys had a blast. Twin Peaks, County Line Road. You're actually right. Have you guys noticed? They are detouring the traffic to go through the parking lot right next to us now, too, off of County Line with construction. Hey, just join us here. Got a bunch of our good friends hanging out here. We got the windows up at Twin Peaks on a Monday Night Football with the Vikings and the Bears in Chicago to close things out. Ice cold beer, great food. Hang at a great place. By the way, the food here is absolutely legit. Twin Peaks and Greenwood will be here until 6 o'clock or certainly thereafter. Meantime, back to the phones with Stephen Holder after 5, and Jonah is at 239-1070 right now. Hello, Jonah. How are you?
JMV, it's been a while. How you been?
Good to hear from you, pal.
Good to hear from you. You know, I
got?
Heard well, I liked what I saw yesterday. I said earlier, if this is the Colts last year playing week 1, I bet we win by maybe 3. The defense looks really good. And a couple of things I really wanted to see is our offensive line with Younghouse and Bertolini, how that they would transpire in their second year, and they both looked really good yesterday. And I thought had a little bit of a hiccup with a couple holds, but the line looked pretty good, and I think that was one of the most important things for Daniel Jones to have, something he never really had in New York. But one thing I wanted to say, it was mentioned earlier how the Colts scored on all 7 of their possessions, offensive possessions. For that to happen on week 1 and with a new quarterback, that's to me that's amazing, and that's just chemistry growing right there, right before our eyes. And now we're seeing why Tyler Warren was one of the most highly touted tight ends in the draft, and I still can't believe it fell to us. I bet the Bears are going to regret that pick, but it was just an all-around good game, and hopefully we have a good season, and I'll go from there.
Hey, you know, Jonah, you bring up Tyler Warren, and the thing that stood out to me after the game, Michael Pittman Jr. was asked about it, and he said, you know what's interesting about it is he could have been more impactful. They could have gone to him a lot more. It'll be interesting to see because Denver has a really good defense. And then we'll see how other teams are going to adjust after week number 1. But he got open, and the one thing about him, if the ball is in the general vicinity or the zip code of his hands, he's going to catch it. Yeah. So and then I want to see more of the threat. He got the handoff. I want to see more of the threat. You could tell that Shane Steichen is kind of chomping at the bit to utilize that guy.
And one thing I like to see from him is he's going downfield and blocking players for your wide receivers. I'm a Notre Dame fan, and Tyler Warren was almost like the sole reason that he kept Pitt State in the game. And it's just he could do it all. And I just think when it's all said and done, it's potentially he could be the best tight end in Colts history.
Hey, Jonah, before I let you go here, what stood out to you most on a day when basically everything went right? What would you put at the top of the list as things that would have been the best? What was the best aspect of yesterday to you?
Balance, and I think coaching as well. I think that was I almost said Frank Reich. That was one of Shane Steichen's most well-coached game that I've seen in his tenure with the Colts. And I've had a lot of criticism with him last year and how he handled Anthony Richardson and some of the play calling and he just tries to get too cute sometimes on 4th downs and on goal line situations. But we really played up to our strengths yesterday with the play calling, and I really like to see that.
Jonah, it is good to have you back on this show, man. Don't be a stranger.
I won't be. It's good to hear from you as well.
It's Jonah right there. You know, I mentioned this in hour number 1. If you missed that portion of the show, Rick Venturi texted me this morning and said it felt to him like it was a new dawn. And a Colts team that we haven't seen around here forever. And certainly he had been an advocate of a change away from Gus Bradley basically forever, if you can remember. I think that's what happens when you describe somebody's defense as a coach or a coordinator, in this case as remedial, that you probably believe it's time for him to go. But I asked Jonah that question about what stood out the most. What was the best aspect of yesterday, just besides the win? Finally getting that off your shoulders of not winning in week number 1 since 2013. I thought it was the defense. And I'll give it up to Lou Anarumo because he did yesterday with his personnel. I thought it was a fitting description about how Colts fans have always wanted to see their defense, and not just with Gus Bradley, but going back to Matt Eberflus as well, how Colts fans wanted to see this defense operate, had hoped to see this defense operate. I'm not suggesting it always had the personnel to operate in that fashion either. But that's how Colts fans always described to me what they wanted to see. And what really stood out was how refreshing to most that felt with the constantly changing, the confusing defense they were throwing out. I mean, you saw some moments when, Kenny Moore was like a pseudo linebacker. Latu, as I mentioned, I think Latu, when he had that interception, he dropped. I think Kwity Paye dropped into coverage. The aggressive nature, the blitzes, Nick Cross on a blitz. When is the last time you saw that or you felt that way? And so many for such a long time, you've wanted to see that. And you finally got it yesterday. 317-239-1070. That's the text line number. Hey, JMV, longtime fan here from Zach. Well, this being Overreaction Monday. And by the way, overreaction in the good is much better than overreaction in the negative. Let me tell you that. But indeed it is. Do you think yesterday solidifies that AR will not play again this year and moving forward? The one thing that I do know around here is you never say never. Like, I do want to keep this within the parameters of how meaningful it was for yesterday and then leading to Monday. We had, I think, a caller a little bit earlier said, hey, you know what, I'm moving on. I'm moving on now. I think it was Ray Love. I'm moving on to the Broncos. Yeah, at some point, you got to do that because we may see something completely different next week with a tougher defense. I think Bo Nix looked very good yesterday at all, but just a whole tougher situation in general, I would expect with the Broncos because the Dolphins were a FUBAR. I just don't want that to be the focus because that does take away from, I thought the effort on both sides of the football was absolutely there and, again, absolutely necessary. So I don't want to say never, especially in this market and how we always get screwed over by injuries. Thank you for that. On the text line, 317-239-1070, and at 239-1070, William has decided to call into this show. Hello, William. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for hosting the show for us.
Thank you. Hey, at you know what? I'm drinking ice-cold beer at Twin Peaks in Greenwood on a Monday, bright sunshine, the windows open. There are worse days in a year, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So my my big takeaways were, first, I really like the idea of taking the ball to start the game. I think for too often I felt like the Colts always deferred no matter what if we wanted to kick off. And I'm a big believer when you're playing, if you're at home, you take the ball to get the crowd into it. And if you're on the road, you go on defense to try to shut the crowd up, so to speak. And just then going out, scoring on that first possession, and then getting that defensive stop right away, I think, set the tone. And like you said, just the aggressive.
I'm with whatever works, and I get that too. I'm with whatever works, but I don't mind. I think what you're saying, William, is you like the aggressive philosophy, and I think maybe the word we should be talking about is aggressive. Aggression, because it seemed like all day long that is the fashion of football in which they employed on both sides.
100% agree.
What else you got, William?
That's pretty much it. I really hope we're able to maintain this and that, this wasn't just a flash in the pan, but I think it's going to stick and will at least be better than some of us may have thought they were going to be.
That is William right there. William, thank you for the call. Colts win 33-8. We're live at Twin Peaks in Greenwood with Stephen Holder. Sure to join us. Coming up this afternoon after 5, some of the other matchups of interest, and we'll talk about this over the course of the afternoon. Arizona 20-13 over New Orleans. It was about Vegas on the road in Foxborough, 20-13. And, Vegas, the whole Pete Carroll act right there, it never gets tired. That guy may coach until he's 125. Who knows? The shootout, would you call it a shootout with the Steelers and the Jets? Steelers ultimately won. 4 touchdown passes for Aaron Rodgers in his Steelers debut. And, a couple of blank you guys to the crowd for the Jets as they are winning. We'll go over more of those scores from yesterday as well. But I did want to ask you exactly a couple of things here. One was the best aspect of yesterday to you, and give me a definitive or even a mixture of the Colts, that level of a football team, or could be, or was it more a product of Miami just being awful? Get your thoughts on that coming up on the other side. Again, the text lines at 317-239-1070. 239-1070 is the phone. You can jump on board with Stephen Holder joining us at the top of the hour. We're off of County Line Road in Greenwood, the incredible location of Twin Peaks. Have you been here? Have you had the opportunity to hang out with Greenwood Red? Have you had the chance to hang out with BT Dew or Matthew, formerly of Maine? Or, me, I got Blake Thomas here as well. You can hang out with the fam. Yeah, the fam is here. Can I say that? Is that okay? Blake Thomas and then Braden. Can I say your name on here too, Braden? Is that okay? All right. Blake and Braden are here as well. Braden's like learning stuff. Is this for Stuckmeyer's class? Here's what I want you to do. Stuckmeyer is the coach of Center Grove's girl team and also his instructor. Tell Coach Stuckmeyer that this is the greatest environment you've ever been a part of for a learning experience at Twin Peaks in Greenwood, okay? Make sure he is fully aware of that. And I'm going to tell you what, Braden, if you don't get an A, he may get his ass whipped. Seriously. You may get his ass whipped if you don't get an A. You better get an A. Quick break. We shall return. Do not go anywhere. Stephen Holder in just over 30 minutes from now. I promise you that. Coach, you got to give him an A on that. Come on now. This is a heck of an experience he's having for this month. The Dietrich family live right behind me, and he's learning a little bit at Twin Peaks in Greenwood on this show on this Monday. Talking about the Colts win for the first time in week 1 since 2013. You are not missing a moment here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Waddle is out of the game, so new personnel into the contest now for the Dolphins. Malik Washington checks in at the receiver spot. D. Eskridge in there as well. Eskridge doesn't know where to line up. Now he's scrambling over to the left side to line up in the formation. Out of the gun goes Tua. Achane is back to the right side. Ball on the right hash. This is 3rd and 3. Tua backs the pass. Rolling to his right. Sets up. Delivers over the middle. Picked off. Latu with the interception. Gets up off the mat. He's running upfield across the 40-yard line, and he's pushed out of bounds in front of the Colts sideline, and his teammates are mobbing him. That's the 3rd takeaway today by the Colts defense. Their 2nd interception and the 1st career INT for Latu.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio, The Call. We're into hour 2 live at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. I see you on County Line. You're not moving very fast out there on County Line, so my advice to you, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it on this Monday. It's damn too good of a day to mess around with that hassle. Slide in here with the great food and the hangout of the Colts conversation for a week 1 win that you're going to get with me at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. Want to see you here. 33-8 is the final, the first time since 2013. The first time since 1978 a team has scored on every single possession. Just some big stuff yesterday, which leads me to this. Our text line, 317-239-1070. I was most impressed with Jones's giant sack yesterday. He knew he had to play well. He knew if he didn't play well, that it would be a crap storm and people would start booing early. And all he did was go out there and score on every single possession. That was absolutely incredible. That was Greg. The large sack of one Daniel Jones. It was prolific yesterday. There's no doubt about that. I mean, really all the way around, too. But, yeah, that I thought was exactly what the Colts have described in the past. You know, we go, whatever, they're just talking once again. But when they made that selection, and then Shane Steichen saying that's what he was looking for, that's what Daniel Jones did deliver yesterday against the Dolphins in that 38, or 33, I should say, 2-8 win. That's what he delivered. And that, fans, that's what you were looking for. I'm going to be curious to see how much more juice is going to be in and around the building coming up on Sunday for that late afternoon game against Denver. I felt, especially going in, it was kind of a listless Colts fan base. And then you got in there and there were a lot of empty seats. You know, we're talking about, hey, 1 win does not make a season. Right. But we do know this. We know that energy and impact can make something. And oftentimes make something out of nothing. So I'm going to be curious to see if what we see in week 2 in that game against Denver later this afternoon, I should say later on that afternoon on Sunday, is any different than the way that it felt going into the game yesterday. 239-1070 is that number. We got Stephen Holder going to join us coming up at the top of the hour as well. You know, the interesting nugget of info today is that Charvarius Ward-Mooney into concussion protocol. I'm assuming we'll talk about that. Talk about that with Stephen Holder at the top of the hour. JMV, I'm most excited about the defense. Absolutely love seeing us crowd the line of scrimmage and guessing who's blitzing. You love the aggression. You can say, we're going to be aggressive, and then when you play that style, as we have seen in the past, whether it's Bradley or Eberflus, yeah, it really doesn't seem like it's aggressive. That yesterday, you know, I know that the results come along with it too, but that yesterday was aggressive, and the offense stayed aggressive. It just seems like that's what you've been calling for forever, and at least for game 1 in one game, that's what was delivered. Exactly what you were looking for. All right, 239-1070. Jim is up next today. Jim, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Hello, John. Awesome show, awesome weekend. I just wanted to make a comment, kind of reflecting what you just said about the defense. That's the first time that I can remember in years and years of watching the Colts that I saw a defense that reminded me of Pittsburgh's defense. So it was really enjoyable. The offense did what I kind of expected them to do against a poor Miami defense, but boy, that defense sure turned things around. So it was awesome to watch.
You know what else that can do, Jim? That can rejuvenate dudes. Like, there was a promo that played on my way in. I'm assuming that happened this morning with Kenny Moore. I mean, it sounded like because the way Kenny Moore was utilized and moving all over the place, I'm not suggesting he was without energy. He had energy, and he was a very good player. But it seemed like that there was a great deal of juice there, and that can happen when you see success and you're moving around and you really don't know what's next and things aren't boring and humdrum. That's another aspect of it as well that I felt yesterday.
Yeah, totally agree. It was an entirely different defensive team.
Anything else, Jim?
That's it. Thanks.
Jim, thank you for that. Adam writes in, JMV. Doesn't honestly matter if Miami is terrible. It was nice to see a competent quarterback and an aggressive defense yesterday. Thank you for that. JMV. Miami will be lucky to win 4 games this year. Jones has been consistently inconsistent the whole career. Pump the brakes. See, a couple of things right here. I respect your opinion. I don't think that I don't have any brakes to pump or any gas pedal going. I live in the moment. And this moment calls for you being able to get some excitement. So I guess my opinion or my counter to that would be, and there's no disrespect intended here. I'm not going to call you any names or anything. But when you live in the moment like me, and man, you're looking for anything to grasp, anything of positivity, and you're around this all the time like I am, and you know the impact for everybody, it is okay to have a day after celebration if you're a Colts fan. It doesn't mean you're going to put your mortgage on the Colts to win the Super Bowl this year. It doesn't mean that Miami may fire absolutely everybody after week number 2. It means that it's a Monday after a Colts win where it was incredibly refreshing to see what they did, how they executed, and the impact of the game. That's all that means. So there's no need to tell me to pump the brakes because I'm not going anywhere at breakneck. I'm describing to you and also having you describe to everybody else exactly what yesterday, week 1, and getting a win for the first time in a week 1 since 2013, what it meant to you. And there's not I better not say that. There is not a damn thing wrong with doing that. You know what? I don't want you to live in a world where you have unreal, stupid-ass expectations, but I can't live in a world with a bunch of slep rocks either. I refuse to do it. I'm not going to do it. So I think that is why we're getting the dialogue. And you also have to remember, this is like you getting something new. Like, remember when you were a kid, what was the favorite toy you ever got at Christmas? When you were a kid, man, I'm excited. I'm going to get this new, this is a new toy to play with. Who knows, man? In a month, you may go, screw this toy, it sucks, or it breaks, or the batteries fall out all the time, or it doesn't work, or the wheel, gets caught in the carpet, and it's all screwed. Maybe it's all screwed up in a month. But, man, right now it's a new toy. You're having fun playing with it. There's not a damn thing in the world wrong with that. We'll come back with your calls on the other side. Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour. I am looking out at, if you guys could see me on the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, I'll tell you what, I'm reminded by AAA because they always have your back. because somebody may be overheating out here today in this line of traffic that's before me because of construction. Always know this, if you overheat in traffic like this, AAA has your back 24/7, 365, wherever you go. There is zero reason why you should not become a AAA member. I mean, hell, you already should be one, but if you're not, become a AAA member today, and it's easier. It's easier to deal with stuff like that because you have that peace of mind. AAA.com, that's where you can watch this show as well. 239-1070, both the text line and the number you can call. That and more coming up next. Do not go anywhere. Stephen Holder coming up in less than 15. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
We have the holy hand grenade. Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Right. 1, 2, 5. Lisa, 3.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And the Colts begin on offense at the 42-yard line in plus territory. They already lead 10-0. And Daniel Jones and company back to work. Backs to throw on play action. Jones going to take a shot down the left sideline, and that is a
Mitchell.
catch. A.D. Mitchell over on the far sideline, caught the ball inbounds inside the 25-yard line down to the 24. A gain of 18 yards for A.D. Mitchell.
Matt Taylor, Rick Venturi, Colts Radio Network. Outstanding call yesterday. Colts out with a win for the first time to start a season since 2013. 33-8 is the final. They'll close up shop on week 1 of the NFL season 2025 later on tonight. The Vikings and Ryan Chicago Bears from Soldier Field coming up later on tonight. Man, join us at Twin Peaks. I'm in Greenwood right now, right off of County Line. Would love to see you. Hey, by the way, too, if you pass Twin Peaks, I want to hear some honks of the horns, too, to know you're listening. We want to validate the listenership out there through the cars honking at us, even if you don't stop. I don't know what you're doing if you don't stop, and I may cuss you, but honk that horn and tell me certainly you're there. I also can tell you this, the spreadability is back for 2025 of the football season. That's Win Schuler's spreadability for you in various flavors, from original cheddar, sharp, I almost said sharp cheddar, jalapeno pepper, and bacon and cheddar at your favorite grocer's location. Now, sometimes Win Schuler's can be hard to find because certainly it is incredibly popular, and you should always have some on hand, just like me. But I was in Gordon's Food Service right about a mile away from me right now, off of US 31 here in Greenwood. Win Schuler's in stock at Gordon's Food Service. I'm just saying. And when you find the Win Schuler's, wherever that might be, make sure you send me a picture so we can send people out. They hard target Win Schuler's. I want to be sure to tell them where it is. That's the spreadability of Win Schuler. Shout out to Bob, back for the football season of 2025. And Anthony is in at 239-1070 right now. Hello, Anthony.
JMV, what's going on, brother?
Hanging out, Anthony, with you. How'd your fantasy league team do so far?
I want to know. My guy's done. I'm winning. I think I'm middle of the pack as far as score goes. How'd you do? Did you win?
Let me tell you this. A.J. Brown, I don't think, had a target on Thursday night. Xavier Worthy got hurt by his own player. And then I had a lot of the wrong guys in the lineup. So I think I coached it up like Egghead Jr. did yesterday. I was like Mike McDaniel Jr., unfortunately. It didn't work out for me, I don't think, in week 1. What's
All
that?
right. We'll give you a repass. It's week 1. Do better.
That's what happens when I pass out during the draft and draft 4 quarterbacks in the late rounds. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, whoever just said pump the brakes, he can kick rocks because we've had nothing to be happy about around here for a long time. And you'll probably agree with me about this. What I'm most happiest about is that they were celebrating Jim Irsay yesterday, who I don't give a darn what anybody says, was a phenomenal human being and a great man and did a ton for this city. So for Peyton and everybody to be there and for us to go out, I don't care if Miami goes 0-16. That's awesome. And that's something that years past we probably would have messed up. So that being first and foremost, man, I just want to give a shout out. The defense played amazing. They still have Tyreek Hill, they still have Jalen Waddle, and they still have Tua, who 2 years ago it was one of the best offenses in football. Daniel Jones is going to make some mistakes this year. He's not going to play like he did yesterday every game this season, and I just want to reiterate what Michael Pittman said to Laura Overton after the game. Is just get off his back. He's going to be the quarterback. Good or bad, we're stuck with him. So if he comes out against Denver and he struggles, don't kill the guy. Don't hang him. Just let him. You know, it's a long season, and let's see what happens, man. But yesterday was fun. Don't you agree? It was just fun.
I know there's no – well, listen, and I saw how it was going in and then how it was coming out. And that's how you want it to be. That type of game was necessary because you could tell that the juice wasn't there at the beginning, at the start from the crowd, but that's how you regain that footing around here, footing that had been lost now for a number of years. I just thought that the way they played yesterday, Anthony, thank you for the call too, that was as important of an aspect as anything else. Getting going, even if it's not a path, but doing just that was exactly how it was necessary to start. Twin Peaks, Greenwood, County Line Road. Yeah, I see you guys out there right now. You guys are waiting in the line to try. Just slide in here. Look at me. We'll have a beer together. Have a hell of a time. 5 o'clock hour, Stephen Holder. Now, the one nugget of info that's more interesting today, the Shavarius Ward Mooney goes into concussion protocol. We'll talk about that and a little bit more on the Broncos with Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com. That is coming up on the other side. Twin Peaks, Greenwood, our location on a Monday. Colts win 33-8. We're back to talk about it even more so with you as well coming up. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way. We're on a mission from God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
3rd and goal for the Colts. Their 3rd opportunity to get 1 yard here. Jones under center, ball on the right hash this time. 2 receivers go left, including Drew Ogletree. Taylor in the backfield. And here's a quarterback sneak by Daniel Jones. He's in! Yes, sir! The quarterback finishes the deal. Another touchdown for the Colts following a defensive takeaway. 12:01 to go in the second quarter, and the Colts lead the Dolphins 16-0.
Matt Taylor, Colts Radio Network. Good afternoon, County Line Road. That's one hell of a straight parking lot you guys have going in the eastbound lane right here. I can see you, too, because I'm hanging out the window at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. This is a Monday down here, and it is a Monday like any other because all the other Mondays, basically since 2013, this was not even Twin Peaks here. Certainly the last time, I know exactly what it was. I think it was like a Logan's Roadhouse way back in the day, the last time the Colts won a Week 1 matchup. But now it is the great Twin Peaks with Corey, the manager. You can ask for Corey, Jordan behind the bar, and the great food and the times and the coldest beer of the cold beer is here. So if you're traveling, for example, eastbound, and you're in the parking lot, this County Line Road, there is zero reason why, like you're Paul Montgomery, and you don't park in the parking lot, and you join us right in here at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. A lot of good reasons. 33-8 is the final. Colts win. Wraps on Week 1 tonight, Monday Night Football. It is the Vikings and Ryan's Bears from Soldier Field in Chicago coming up later on this evening. So good to go with that. And then next week, I'll tell you, Thursday and Friday we'll be on the road. And are you ready to have some fun? Hopefully you are. We'll go over a little bit later on my picks. My fantasy team was a disaster. There is something to be said about not passing out during the end of your fantasy draft, I guess. We'll go into that coming up a little bit later on. And the rest of the Week 1 finals, which was entertaining as hell, especially on Sunday night. If you're on hold, I'll get to you. You want to get on the text line at 317-239-1070. You can do that as well. But joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, the thumbnail sketch of yesterday and the meaning of yesterday, even being just 1 week in an NFL season, from ESPN and ESPN.com, Stephen Holder joins us. Hey, Stephen, I saw you in the press box yesterday, and I'm assuming you probably noticed this as well. There was not a lot of juice going on before the game, especially at the start, during the game, a lot of empty seats. I mentioned this at the outset of the show. I thought yesterday, no matter the outlook for Miami, if they're just dreadful as what we witnessed, maybe the Colts don't look like that every game, but I thought that Week 1 performance was as necessary as anything what the Colts accomplished yesterday. What say you?
Well, I would say to start that the empty seats were noticeable. I talked about that with some of my colleagues, in fact, during and after the game. I thought, in the end zones in particular, in those upper levels, you saw a lot of empty seats. Also in the upper deck on the sidelines, you saw a lot of empty seats. And I thought that was representative of the lack of anticipation for this season among the fan base, right? That's just a fact, right? We don't have to – that's not me making a judgment of the team. It's saying that people were skeptical and they weren't excited about this team going into yesterday. Not that I could tell. And certainly, you have a good pulse on that hosting this show every day. So I think that's a very fair statement. And I do agree. In fact, I thought that very thought yesterday. Like, they kind of needed to get off to a good start because had they lost yesterday or had it been an ugly game, it then confirms everything that those people thought, those people who haven't cared about the Colts up until yesterday. So it's good for everybody. It gets the juices flowing for the team to be 1-0. Haven't been able to say that in a long time. And it gets my readers and your listeners thinking about it and talking about it. It's good for everybody because they were not there before yesterday, for sure.
Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I had a listener send me a text saying, hey, I thought the biggest deal was Daniel Jones going into that game knowing that even his first mistake probably would initiate some boos coming from those that are inside Lucas Oil Stadium. And he went out there and he did exactly what Shane Steichen had described he wanted to see and the reason behind selecting him as the starting quarterback. And then Stephen did that for the entirety of the game, and also some accomplishments where you haven't seen stuff like that. When you mention Otto Graham and things that haven't been done in the NFL, and you're a part of that company, that is a damn good afternoon if you're Daniel Jones. Simply put, he showed significant amounts of satchel, I thought, in that first game for the Colts yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, he let it rip, and I think you saw Shane Steichen's confidence in him just from this, frankly. What happened? They open the game. They get possession to start the game. The first 5 plays were dropbacks by Daniel Jones. So this was not, hey, let's kind of dip our toe into this. Let's kind of tiptoe into it. No, they said, let's let it rip right away. And they were very aggressive throwing the football. Not necessarily aggressive in like, we're going to go down the field all day. That's not what it was, but that's not what they ever set out to do, right? They wanted consistency. They want, you hear Shane Steichen talk about this term. He says, finding completions. That is boring, generally speaking, right? But it keeps the chains moving, and it sets you up maybe for bigger plays later on. And I thought that did come. So I thought it was exactly according to plan. Exactly according to plan. And the Colts had a great game plan. Look, they were not shy about this. They saw that defense on tape, and they said to themselves, we can throw the ball against these guys. You saw what happened when they tried to run it. Jonathan Taylor is 3.9 yards per carry in that game. They had to win this game by throwing the football, and Daniel Jones was able to step up and accomplish that task. The last thing I'd say is that I thought his efficiency, which is a boring word, I know, but his efficiency was fantastic. Listen to this, 9.4 yards per attempt. That is an incredible number, particularly for a guy who, in his career, his average is 6.5, which is not good enough. You want it to be 7.5, sort of base level. This guy for his career has been 6.5. Yesterday, 9.4. That was because of 2 reasons. Pushing the ball in the intermediate throws and also giving guys opportunity to run after the catch, which takes accurate throws. So he did a great job, no question about it.
He is Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We saw the stat line, and it was impressive from rookie Tyler Warren at tight end. But when Michael Pittman Jr. stated after the game that there was a lot more out there that they could have utilized with him, what did he mean by that as far as the offensive playbook or the opportunities? And then you kind of makes you wonder exactly, Stephen, where they might be going and how they may utilize in the not-so-distant future their rookie tight end.
Well, look, I don't think I'm giving away any secrets when I say that there's a Tyler Warren package, okay, in the playbook. I don't know what all it consists of. I don't know, but it's in there, okay, because that's how good this guy is and that's how versatile he is. You saw the short yardage situation yesterday, and so he gets the fullback dive and converts that. I think that's just scratching the surface. You'll see him on these tight end screens. That is a staple with him. He's great at that because when you get him the ball, he's incredible after the catch. I think he had 76 yards receiving, I believe, in total. About 34 of those, if I'm not mistaken, were after the catch. So he definitely is a guy you want with the ball in his hands in the open field. So however you choose to do that, you should do it, and it can be in multiple ways. So it's a combination of things. And when you ask me what Pittman's talking about, it's some of the trickery / versatility stuff they want to do with him, and then it's also just finding creative ways to get him the ball and let him work after the catch, because that's where he is really difficult to deal with, because he's tough to bring down. I mean, he runs with like a violence, and you love to see that.
Hey, Stephen, a lot of the fans, including myself, had noticed this, and even in the press box, you could feel it, how refreshing it was to watch a defense. To watch a defense be aggressive, move things around, be different, blitz, and really confuse a Dolphins team to the point where they had really no match in discombobulation right there. Through Gus Bradley and Matt Eberflus, we have seen Colts fans and heard from Colts fans wanting that. And in week number one, in game number one in 2025, their new defensive coordinator delivered that with his personnel.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking enough about this, to be completely honest. Not you, just generally. And I love it. It's because, look, I'll start by saying, look, I don't have any sort of fundamental I'm not fundamentally against playing a conservative style of defense if it works, right? It depends on who's on your team and whether you have the adequate pass rush to make it work. There are teams that can make it work for sure, but it had reached the point where it was not working here in Indy, and it was time. So what I loved about yesterday was you now have a scheme that is putting players in the positions where they can succeed. I talked to Kenny Moore about this after the game because I think he's the greatest example. Kenny Moore, when you let him go chase the quarterback, when you let him be the wild card that he is, that guy is a fantastic football player. And so you saw him go get Tua yesterday, and I think that is exactly what you want. You want the quarterback now thinking twice and wondering and hesitating and being second-guessing himself, which Tua did throughout that game. You could watch him all the way from upstairs in the press box, and you could see that Tua was uncomfortable, that he didn't trust what he was seeing. And I thought you saw the fruits of that play out with the turnovers and the fact that he just wasn't very accurate. So great day, and Lou Anarumo, round of applause for Lou Anarumo. Great job. I think the zone drop and pass drop from Leatu Latu, I saw it in training camp, and I remembered that moment when I saw him pick that pass off. I remember seeing it in training camp thinking, oh my God, if they do that, that'll be a first around here. And it's not something you want to do all the time, right? I want that guy chasing the quarterback, but you want to show something different at times. And now that's on tape. Now every quarterback they play is going to circle that and be like, hey, watch for this. That's in the playbook. We might get this. And so that gives you another layer of things you have to prepare for. Fantastic job all around. I love it.
Yeah, Stephen, and they backed things up too. I mean, they kind of turned over the personnel in what they brought in to Lou Anarumo, and in week number one, you could not have asked for anything better. I want to get to the situation and concussion protocol with Mooney in a second, but let's talk about Xavier Howard. He obviously had a great deal of insight. That was his former team. He had a gap year where he was on the couch a year ago. But what he had said earlier today was interesting. It's almost like that he and they, most of the time, knew exactly what Tua was doing, how he was going to do it. And I thought they dictated how he played and what he did. I don't think he had really any control out of much offensively under center for the Dolphins. And really, I thought that was from start to finish yesterday.
No, I couldn't agree more. So what you're referencing is, it was me, frankly. I asked Xavier what I thought was a pretty innocent question, like, hey, you guys really seem to confuse Tua Tagovailoa with the different coverages and blitzes, and just an open-ended question. And apparently he was very glad that I asked it because he had something to say. And the quote was, "Yeah, he gets the ball out quick. And once we take away his first read, I feel like it's panic mode after that." And it showed yesterday. And so I have a story up on ESPN about it, which is being very well read because it's making headlines. And I tweeted it out. And let me tell you, Dolphins Nation, they are all up in my mentions right now. And they're not arguing the quote. They have his back on this, which is the funny part. They are down on Tua today. And the Colts are the reason for that. They exposed some things there. They really did. And maybe, in fact, and not even maybe, I will tell you, Howard admitted that he did talk to the coaches quite a bit about, what they might see from Tua. And I think he was of help to them. So there's no question about it. He was huge. And I mean, he played 32 snaps, I believe, in that game. So they didn't sort of, give him the training wheels. They put him out there and he played. And I didn't see him as a weakness either. So good job there.
Were you surprised the level he played considering not playing it over a year?
Yes. I thought it had disaster potential. Now, to be fair, the Dolphins never got it going, right? I mean, we don't know had they gotten any kind of consistency, maybe it would have been different. I don't know. So the Colts had the upper hand all day. There's no question about that. But even, I would say, going into the game, I would say, in spite of that, I felt like this had disaster potential. I'm like, what if they get Tyreek Hill singled up on Xavier Howard, and he's got to run step for step with this guy? How is that going to end? It didn't really happen, but I think that what we may have been wrong about is the Dolphins really aren't a deep throw team. They're not a deep ball team. Tua, as Howard said, he likes to go to that first read and get the ball out. Well, that's perfect for a guy who's 32 years old and maybe can't run a 4.3, but he's going to be able to play with instincts. And those instincts allow you to disrupt those early reads, those first reads in the progression. So it actually worked out pretty well. So we'll see if they get a different sort of matchup in the weeks to come. But in this case, Howard was up to the task, and I stand corrected. He did his job.
So, Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So Shavarius Ward evidently came into the facility today with concussion-like symptoms. He goes into protocol. Anything else around that story that you could talk about right now?
No, I mean, nothing new at the moment. I think we'll just have to see how this goes. I mean, I thought I recalled him being in on a couple of pretty physical plays, late in the game, and I could see how that could have happened. But, who knows? Sometimes you're wrong about when you think these things happen, but that's besides the point. But I would say this has the potential to be consequential for them, no question about that. He is what a lot of their defense and the coverages is built around. It was his ability to do the things that he does. And if he's not out there, you might have to use different tactics, maybe be less aggressive. I don't know. But we'll have to see how the week goes. And it's too early to have any sense of whether he goes against Denver on next Sunday.
Hey, Stephen, Kenny Moore, you mentioned earlier, moving all over the place. Nick Cross on a blitz, lots of blitzes, a lot of moving around. I mentioned this earlier, too. I think that is a way, especially for this group, to be rejuvenated about what they're doing, which I think helps as well. And did you see that, too? It seemed like it was just, beyond the results, a rejuvenated group for doing something differently and something they truly enjoy doing. And obviously the positive results play a significant role, but I think that they're flying around and having one hell of a time yesterday.
No, I think that is a perfect observation. So let me tell you what Leatu Latu told me. He said, I'm looking for the quote here and I'm not finding it, but I'll paraphrase. He said, this was some of the most fun I've had playing maybe since UCLA, that game in particular. Because when everything you throw at them works, you're just having all this success. And it's also not just sort of a plain Jane defensive system. There's a lot of quirks and a lot of nooks and crannies in this thing. So that's a lot for players to kind of mess around with, and they had a good time with it. So there's no question. I do think you're right. It gets an energy going among the guys when they're having success and they're doing different things. And I just thought that they looked like they were having fun out there, frankly. So yeah, Latu echoes the same sentiments that you just offered. Yeah.
How impactful was the day? And obviously Jim Irsay going into the Ring of Honor at the half. How impactful was it for the girls? And I guess to start with Carly Irsay Gordon. And it seemed like that she was overcome by significant emotion, and I thought rightly so after the game in the locker room.
I agree. I think it is big because I think of what it represents. It's their first game at the helm. Now, in 30 years from now, maybe we don't remember that. I don't know, but at least in the moment, that's pretty symbolic, right? It's like their dad's gone, he's being celebrated, and then to come in and to lose under those circumstances, that would have been a gut punch, don't you think? So I think getting the win, it allowed them to enjoy the day in earnest. It would have been difficult to enjoy the day in its fullness had they not finished the job. And I think that would have been a pretty unfortunate scenario. So I think for all involved, if you care anything about the Colts or if you have any relationship with, the people who work there and or with Jim Irsay, you understand, and I put myself in that category. You understand why all of this was so meaningful, right? So I agree with you. I think that was the icing on the cake was winning this game, because it would not have been able to have been celebrated in the same manner had they gone out and lost or not won on week one for the 12th consecutive season. I mean, that would have been a lot to deal with.
He's been professional the entire time in closing here, and I wouldn't expect anything less. But I did notice, and I bet you did too, just how engaged that the backup quarterback stayed on the sideline throughout that game.
I did notice, and I said good for him, because if the time comes when he has to play, I mean, you want him to be engaged. You hope that he will have been engaged. And look, Anthony Richardson, whatever criticisms there may be about him, I mean, he's a good human being. That has never been in dispute. And I'm not saying that you said that, just in general, right? The fans need to know that, right? He's a good human being. He means well. He loves his teammates. They support him. Those things are important because backup quarterbacks sometimes become starting quarterbacks under certain circumstances. And if that time comes, you need him to be engaged, number one. And number two, you need the remainder of those teammates to believe in him and to have his back. So I think that would be true if the time comes. And, look, certainly everyone hopes that Daniel Jones makes it through healthy. But, look, this is the NFL. Things happen. So I did notice that, though. And I think that's a good sign for everybody involved. And it seems like it's at least a healthy situation for right now.
Quickly, any other injury nuggets we should be aware of that maybe we haven't talked about, Steven, in closing here?
Well, yeah, I think Jalen Jones is the one that's of concern outside of Ward because, in fact, it compounds Ward's injury. He's got the hamstring, and the understanding is he injured the same hamstring that he had been struggling with. So I think that one, we don't have any details on the severity yet, but that bears watching because he was the first guy off the bench. If he's not there, now you got to dig a little deeper, and if Ward can't play, it gets a little dicey. So that's a concern as we head into the first practice on Wednesday.
Do we ever know how Mike Hilton looked when he tried out here a week ago?
Not really. I guess I'm trying to remember if that workout was before or after Howard signed. I can't recall.
I think it was before. Well, was it? Well, hell, I don't know.
It may have been.
Probably wrong.
I don't know, man. I don't know what day of the week it is. So
I was just curious
anyhow,
because that's kind of a situation where the first person I wonder about is him.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable suggestion. The only thing I'd say is he is a little more of a slot corner, I guess. So that's my only question. But I would say this too. Keep in mind that the Colts, for whatever reason, this is not me saying this. This is them. They are really high on Jonathan Edwards. They really like him. So he would have to be forced. So he would be pressed into action, and they think he has a really bright future. Like Ballard is super high on this guy, and is telling me that he thinks that he's going to be a starting corner in this league pretty soon. So we'll see. He would be next up, though, I believe.
Former Indiana Stater right there. Makes a lot of sense, I think, on the NFL level with Stephen Holder on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Man, great seeing you yesterday. Well done as always. We'll catch up with you late Sunday afternoon against the Broncos and see if we're talking like this on Monday. Thank you.
All right, you got it.
Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com. County Line Road is a parking lot right now, so if you would really like to park, do it at Twin Peaks. Join us for the great food, the ice-cold beer, and the Colts winning for the first time in Week 1 since 2013. Conversation. Twin Peaks and Greenwood, don't go anywhere. Your calls at 239-1070. 239-1070 on the other side. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Welcome back to Colts football. Indianapolis ball on their own 42-yard line following the third takeaway by the Colts defense. An interception by Laiatu Latu. First down, the Colts take a shot down the sideline looking for Alec Pierce, and he's got it. Oh, yes, sir. The Midwestern missile on the reception down inside the 25 on the Colts sideline down to the 22-yard line of Miami.
Matt Taylor, Colts radio on the call. Twin Peaks, Greenwood, County Line Road is packed. Slide in here. Have some great food. A little Monday Night Football. The wraps on week one. Has the Vikings and the Bears from Soldier Field coming up later on tonight. Ryan's pumped up about the Bears. He loves some Caleb Williams. He loves some Roma Dunze. He drops too many passes. Roma Dunze. But now, Bears, Vikings coming up later on tonight. J.J. McCarthy v. Caleb Williams. That is pure, incredible excitement. I mentioned Greenwood Red. First time in forever I've seen Red over there. Looking good, too. Paul Montgomery is here. I should also mention, Thursday, our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots will be live at the Ale Emporium in Fishers. That is the near Geist location. And for those of you that follow this show, that is near one of the greatest Goodwill locations of all time right there off of Geist, which is midnight right across the parking lot. Ale Emporium, Heaven Hill Distillery. We've got Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots coming up on Thursday. And then Bud Light Blue Friday. We've got Broncos Colts tickets to give away because of IU Indiana State football. We're going to have to, we'll be there the entirety of the time, but the show is going to be adjusted a little bit coming up on Friday. But we'll be at Coach's Tavern, Tommy S., our good friends from Zinc and Bud Light on Friday. And that is a place where you can win Broncos Colts tickets. By the way, Taylor's Pub was awesome on Friday. Just a job well done. Really two great shows last week. Joe's Grill on Thursday. We started Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots, and then Bud Light Blue Friday at Taylor's Pub last week was great. But Thursday, the Ale in Fishers. Friday, Coach's Tavern downtown. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. I don't know. James, has Butch called yet today? So many people are wanting Butch. They are chanting Butch right now. They want Butch's call on a Colts winning Monday, but I don't think Butch has called just as of yet, has he?
I have not seen him.
No Butch. Got Sean and Ike coming up. Let me hit this before I get to their calls. JMV face it. The only thing the Colts fans see are positive in a win. Anything else is worthless. We're fair weather fans and always have been. That's not unusual, is it? Listen, I think I don't even call fair weather anymore. Most fans are like that. You win, everybody's happy. You don't, nobody's happy. Everybody's critical. Kind of the nature of the game, is it not? Life in general right there. All right, 239-1070. Let's go with Ike. Ike, you're up next on the show. Thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hey, JMV.
Hello,
Last
Ike.
time I talked to you, we were talking about Orange Juice Jones and the answer. I found
Yes, we were.
It's a female called Miss Thang.
Miss
M-I-S-S.
Thang. Yeah, I looked that up after you called, too. I found it, too.
Did you find it? It's on,
I did.
It's on Tommy Boy label. It's a song called Thunder and Lightning, and you can find it on YouTube. I found it yesterday. Yep, you can find it with ease. Just type that in, this thing, Thunder and Lightning, and then it's another thing. The record comes up at the Cliff Storm on there. But you can push it and listen right to it. So, about the coach yesterday, though, I want to tell you that defense was amazing. That's what I really thought was the big part of yesterday's game. All the offense was awesome, but that defense was better than I've seen in a long time. So that was what I took away yesterday's game.
Ike, people are calling it refreshing. And I think enough said right there. That's how it felt to me, too. It was refreshing to see that defense.
Yeah, no doubt.
Miss Thing for Ike, and thank you for the call, Ike, on this Monday. And Sean is up next at 239-1070. Sean, welcome to the show.
Hey, JMV. Hey, yeah, I'm happy the Colts won and everything, but what happens – I know this go against what you've been talking about all day, but what happens when Daniel Jones has a decent year and we do kind of all right and nobody's really – we're kind of, you know, if the way you want it to be is Colts fans be happy with what we got, what are we stuck with Daniel Jones? Because – if he
plays like that, there's I mean, people are going to be happy he is here, and you got to consider what the hell else do you have? It's like Richard Gere and an officer and a gentleman. I got nowhere else to go. What the hell else do you got to do? So I mean that's a decision. I think, Sean, that's a decision. It's one of those that's going to play out. But, you know, as of right now, I'd have to say if he gives you reason to be the quarterback here, I don't know why you would look any place else considering the quarterback situation and the woes here in the past.
Well, yeah, I understand that part of it. But, you know, watching Daniel yesterday have that awesome game, and then you turn on the TV at nighttime and watch two quarterbacks. That's what it's going to take to win the AFC. Two quarterbacks that – I mean, made Daniel look like a high school player. I know I sent you a text, but we have nothing like that. And, I mean, maybe it's just like the Colts are teasing us by saying, okay, you can have Daniel Jones. He can have games like this, but we got a guy on the bench that could possibly be our future that's just sitting there. So what I'm asking is this. If Daniel Jones has a decent year and everybody's all happy, what happens to AR? Are we still going to be have him in the background where we're kind of teased by what he could be or never knowing? Or are they going to say,
if Daniel Jones, Sean, if Daniel Jones has this year and it's like it is right now, or if they're happy with his play, AR finds a different team. He'll be somewhere else next year. That is the cut in the dry of the situation. Now, I will say this. I don't think anybody's confusing the Colts and that win yesterday with them being at the level of Buffalo and Baltimore for like AFC championship challenging right now. I just think, again, it's a game to where you feel good about everything involved, and that has been few and far between over the years. I think that's basically what we're talking about right now.
I'm not comparing teams. I was comparing
I mean, a lot of what they I mean, listen, am I going to tell you that Daniel Jones is going to be Josh Allen? No. Or Lamar Jackson? No. But I can also tell you but there's, I mean, listen, that they have won, but there's disappointment in their winning too. Is there not? So, I mean, everybody outside of really Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City in the AFC's kind of in the same boat right now, regardless of the level of talent of their quarterback.
What's the win total that you think that AR doesn't have a chance?
I'm sorry, James talked right there. Sorry about that. One more time, tell me.
What is a win total that you think that AR is done if Jones hits? Like 8 games, 9 games? If we win 9 games?
The only thing I have to go on, if AR's done, I think if this team either, let's just say this, if they go to the postseason or win the division, either one, and Daniel Jones plays well at quarterback, he's back, and AR's going someplace else. I honestly, I can tell you right now, my opinion is, I think really regardless, he's going to end up someplace else. I think he is done here right now. I think he is handling things as professionally as he can, and he understands, and he is being advised that his future at quarterback, if it's going to happen, is not going to be here. That's where I stand on that right now.
I mean, Ballard did say he's in our future plan.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you know how
we're
that
not
goes.
to believe Ballard. Who are we to believe?
Well, you can't say he's never going to play here again and he stinks.
Yeah,
even though you
right.
may want to at times. Yeah.
But I will plug you just for a second. I won the AAA membership through you.
Yes.
I don't know, about 6 months ago, and I'm going to tell everybody you're an idiot if you haven't subscribed to AAA, because it pays for itself. I got it free, yes, but it pays for itself with all the perks you get, the life insurance discounts. I'm telling you, or not telling you, I'm telling all your listeners, you're an idiot if you don't have it. Plain and simple, especially if you have a family.
I appreciate that, Sean. AAA.com. You can sign up today. If you don't take my recommendation, take that from Sean. Sean, thank you for the call. County Line Road, Greenwood, Twin Peaks location. Final stretch of this show on a Monday that has been fun as hell. After a Week 1 win, finally. Sit tight. Back with you next. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Ride with JMV.
Now you listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Charvarius Ward is out of the game, and checked in now is Mekhi Blackman, the former Minnesota Vikings, who the Colts traded for there at the end of training camp. He's out there on the left side playing corner. Meanwhile, Tua backs to throw. Here comes the blitz off the left edge, and they get him. Nick Cross. Another secondary blitz gets home, and a sack for Nick Cross, and Tua goes back down inside his own territory. They're going to mark the ball back all the way around the 43-yard line. A loss of 7.
Matt and Rick, Colts Radio. Colts 1-0 in the season. Broncos in town after 4 o'clock. Late afternoon game coming up on Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. I mentioned the Mooney Ward situation, concussion protocol as of right now. That was announced today. And also the Colts signed running back Amir Abdullah to their practice squad, releasing running back Khalil Herbert from the practice squad. That also happened a little bit earlier today in related Colts news. Twin Peaks, South Side. We're in Greenwood today on County Line Road, having a great time being with you. Adam in Whitestown writes this: when will, as fans, are we going to stop thinking about what ifs? Daniel Jones played well. Let's enjoy it and hope it continues. Adam, I fully concur with that take right there. Hope it continues. JMV, trying not to get too excited, but what will the reaction be this time next week if Jones has the opposite type of game? Mustang. Well, I'm sure we'll be saying, well, that was a bunch of crap. It's a flash in the pan, and everybody will be calling for Anthony Richardson. As it stands right now, as what Sean asked me, if this continues, this level of play or close to it continues, solidifying the quarterback position, it'll be Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson, in all likelihood, is going to be in a different spot next year anyway. That's how you have to think about that. All right, 239-1070. James, did you write down these names? Because I think I completely forgot at this point right here at Twin Peaks. That is my bad. Oh, I see it now. Let's go to Clayton at 239-1070. Hello, Clayton.
Hi, John. Just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for all you do. You make this hellish commute going up 65 every day much more tolerable. But
my brother, thank you very much for the props.
Yeah, I just headed off a County Line Road, so I wish I knew you were down there. But, hey, I just wanted to say Colts had a great game yesterday. They felt like things were clicking. The bar's been set so low the last couple of seasons. Just go out there, play. And it felt good yesterday. Daniel Jones, you know what? We don't know what he's going to be. We also don't know what AR is going to be. But AR shooting for the banners up in the rafters last year did not help the blood pressure at all. Just having completions, simple completions yesterday. Boys are having fun. You can't ask for much more in Colts land.
No, it was the perfect, and thank you, Clayton, for the call. Be careful. The perfect remedy for Colts fans yesterday was that performance and that win. You know, speaking of Clayton, a shout out to Clayton Anderson. Clayton's Country Bar officially opened over the weekend, and I heard nothing but incredible things. We'll be there pretty soon. Clayton's Country Bar, downtown in the old Hard Rock Cafe. Had a great weekend from what I heard, which is outstanding. Adam is next at 239-1070. Hello, Adam.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Adam, great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think the last caller who said we were going to be stuck with Daniel Jones is correct. I'm a season ticket holder, and I've been watching him since Carson Wentz was limping around on 2 broken ankles. Yesterday was awesome. It was awesome to watch a competent quarterback.
Yeah. And that's, Adam, thank you for the call. I'm sorry, you cut out right there at the tail end. That's all you can go on right now. All you can go on right now is what they did yesterday. And we'll turn the page and talk about the Broncos. And if they suck next week, we'll talk about them sucking next week. But yesterday was the remedy. It was the elixir for what was necessary for that team, what they had talked about coming to fruition, and for the fans who were juiceless at the beginning for a feel-good. Again, that was the remedy. Thank you all for joining us, too. Ethan, Kev, thank you. Devin, the onside engineer. Man, where is Ravensdale today? Greenwood Red and Ryan's here. Twin Peaks County Line. James, thank you. Win Schuler's Spreadability. Find it at your favorite grocery store. It is back for the fall. Win Schuler's Spreadability. Colts Roundtable next.